Everybody got to give 100% of their all if you in a relationship. You got to hold yourself accountable and put yourself on a pedestal if you want somebody to view you a certain way. Just like you want your partner to be on that pedestal and treat you like you want to be treated type. Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Set Minds. It's your boy, you feel me, Unusual Experience. And we also got your boy, Sean D, you feel me? And back again, we got your boy, Garen.
Where's the energy?
Where's the energy?
Where's the energy?
I'm fat right now. Let me.
Not you. I'm talking about Dion. You know, you got me, Unusual Experience. We got my boy, D Sean D. You know,
bro, you gotta do it like, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Unusual Experience, and today we got another episode dropping.
Oh, all right, whatever. We already did the introduction. We already did it.
Some apple juice?
Huh?
You need some apple juice to help you get together?
Oh my God.
It's empty. What's he gonna drink?
Here.
All right. So what I want to talk about today is self-accountability. Would y'all say y'all hold y'all self-accountable for, like, you feel me, all y'all's rights and wrongs?
No. No. If you want me to be real, no.
Never blame somebody else. What do you mean?
I blame the world. That's what I do. And the government. It's the government's fault.
The all-seeing eye, Skynet.
How is it the government fault?
How is it the government fault?
Yeah.
Well, you know, they created a whole system against, you know, black folks and people of color. There we go. Boom. Hold on, mic drop.
Drop it.
I'm gonna just start a bunch of like conspiracy theory. Ronald Reagan, Al Gore.
Oh.
I don't have anything.
But on a serious note, I ain't perfect. So I don't hold myself accountable for everything, but it's a work in progress. I've become mature, so I'm working on it. Being a young man, I gotta step up to the plate and be like, you know what? I fucked up. And I gotta, you know, fix what I fucked up. So I mean, it's a work in progress. I'm not, like I said, I'm not perfect, but sometimes it happens. And you just gotta be like, you know what? I made a mistake. Let me make up for my mistake and call it a day.
So if you make a mistake, doesn't that mean you have to hold yourself accountable?
Yeah, I'm saying I don't always hold myself accountable. I'll be like, you know what? That ain't my fault. Walk away. Sometimes.
So at what circumstances is it not your fault?
It has to be like something small, like something that's not really that deep. Like if it's something like that's really important to me, like say my grades or money, something like that, I'm holding myself accountable because I have control over that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you get into like a little, you know, say you and your spouse get into it or something, it's miscommunication. I can't say that either because I kind of hold myself accountable for that too because my relationship is important to me. So, but it has to be something that's not like I can fully control, if that makes sense. Something that's sometimes out of my hand, but I had a hand in it. It's not fully in my control at all, if that makes sense. Just something that's not deep to me.
Anybody else want to say something?
Who's gonna go?
Also, you got it.
All right. So similar to his point of view, but slightly different, where he said in certain situations or circumstances where he makes a mistake and he decides to blame it on somebody. Whereas I find myself more in the position where if a mistake is made, I will kind of like mentally block it and forget about it and put it aside and keep moving as if it did not happen. And I find that situation or that decision making really damaging, because if I don't reflect on the decision that I've made and the mistakes and the impact that I've made on those around me, and I just act, it is what it is, I'm gonna keep going forward and disregarding the consequences after, I find that biting me in the butt later on down the road. And that's kind of how I've been going about it. Not lately, but throughout my life, I've kind of seen that happen.
Okay, then me and you are similar in that, because I'll definitely like put it in the back burner, but I'll process it as I'm happening. So it's like, okay, this happened, this is my fault, and then it's like this is where I can control, this is your reaction. And I separate everything bisectionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll like, okay, let me see where I could have done better. Because then I'll come back to it. I try my best, but it's like, so honestly, it's probably like a 90-10. So it's like, okay, this is where I had control at, this is where I lost it at, this is where we review time. So it's a little bit in that area.
All right.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man.
So my thought, I was just thinking, you feel me? It's just like, do you feel like everybody has their own personal like definition of self-accountability?
Nah, I feel like universal. You just decide. I feel like you make a mental decision to not take accountable for like some BS that's said or something or done. It's like this. Well, you shouldn't have done that in the first place. Well, why would you think reacting like that would have been okay in the first place? Like you got to take accountability for some mature reactions.
So
Well, I
basically,
think it's also important to take into account that people don't care.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's that weird maturity line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all in general, accountability. Yeah, it's like it's a universal. Like everybody knows. It's just like, nah, I'm not gonna do it today.
And that leads into that arrogant way of thinking where, I live for me, I do me, I care not for how I affect others. I'm just going to keep pushing forward because the only person I care about is myself.
Exactly. They don't care about the consequences.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Sean, you got something in your mind. What you want to say?
I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. Because you made a face earlier when I had asked that question. It looked like you had something.
No, I was just listening.
So when it comes to like self-accountability, you feel me? How do you put that into play when you want to achieve something like a goal, or you have like, a list of things that you want to accomplish? Like, how do you put that into play? Like, do you tell yourself, all right, like, look, you feel me? Basically, like, because everybody procrastinates, you feel me? So how do you like overcome that and like hold yourself accountable for like your actions or like getting stuff done?
Prep cope. I do prep coping.
Explain it.
So prep coping is like this. If this happens, I know I'm gonna react this way. So to avoid that, I put something different reinforcement to avoid doing that. So right now it's like, okay, I want to go eat. So I'm gonna go out to eat. If I cook right now and cook my meal for tomorrow, I won't go out to get that meal. It's already done. I've already measured out. I don't have to think about it, which I wouldn't have to think about before. I'm just taking the extra brain cell out instead of me giving me an excuse to go do A, B, and C. So if I know I'm going to be up, for example, like right now, it's like, okay, I could be watching Twitch or some random thing. I pre-cope and say, okay, I'm going to be up. What can I do to give me the same stimulus and cause me to make it an educational benefit? So it becomes a Reddit read. And then at a certain time, I put my phone on do not disturb and it puts me into sleep. So it's like you pre-cope your brain out that void to that weird issue.
That's a very effective way of going about it. Unfortunately, so that question that you just provided, where it seems like you're coming from the stance of what are we doing to better ourselves in that subject, right? On a basic level, that's what Mace is asking. My answer to that, in all honesty, I've never fixed that. So the way I go about it, I'll wait until the last minute to do everything.
Mhm.
And I'll procrastinate. I'll never fix that. Like, as of this moment, I haven't fixed it. And I'll get it done in the shortest amount of time because I was so wrapped up in enjoyment and distractions the time prior. And I recognize that that's not like the most effective way about going about things. But so far, I've winged it. And I'm living with that consequence, though. Don't get me wrong. So the way I'm going about it, I accept whatever follows. And if I can put in a better effort during the time period of which I'm going through a certain task or self-betterment, however you want to word it, I accept that for what it is.
What I usually do, like, I agree with that. I'm kind of the person, I'd be like, I think about the consequences from time to time, and I'd be like, like, for example, let's say, for example, I want to be built, I want to be healthier. But if I be like, all right, well, I ain't gonna work out today, or I ain't run my mile today, I'm be like, well, I just didn't run the mile. I'd be like, well, the next day, you gotta run the mile and some. So it's like I kind of punish myself, and it's like it's to better yourself and to do better the next day. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's like, all right, you better yourself, but this is your punishment for missing this day. So that's how I think about it, like that. Or like when it comes to like certain, like, say, business stuff, I'd be like, all right, the consequence of you not doing this is that this didn't get the promotion it needed. So, you might have missed like a key networking skill or somebody to network with from missing, that promotion deal or that event. And it's like, all right, well, I just shot myself in the foot. So let's make up for it. The next event there is, go to it, socialize, network. So, like, sometimes I have a certain goal to socialize with like 10 people, just talk to them. And if I don't, I'll be like, well, we're going to do 10 people again and go from there, basically.
Do y'all feel like certain things that you don't hold yourself accountable for, like, does it only hinder you or does it hinder like other people as well?
Other people every time.
Sometimes both.
I think it hinders
Yeah.
every time. Other people.
I would say, I guess, because that question is a very blanket term. Like, what are you holding yourself accountable for? And I feel like instantly you think of something physical, right? But I think that can also relate to what are you holding yourself accountable for internally, as far as like mental health and those type of situations where every day you think, well, I should hold myself accountable for how I'm feeling or how I view things or how I go about living life internally, right? And so that doesn't affect anybody but yourself until you start to project those negative kind of connotations onto those around you. But on that basic level, if you're not holding yourself accountable for how you are, holding yourself within, it only truly affects you on that regard.
I like the way you said that because like it can play, like you said, it can play into like a few different things, you feel me? Like not only yourself, but it can play into like relationships, not only with your significant other, but like family members as well. It can go into the business aspect in a lot of ways, you feel me? It's just, like you said, so kind of like broad, depending on how like you handle things. So yeah, I kind of agree with everything you said though.
Mm-hmm.
And then think about it like this: if you don't hold yourself accountable, you're gonna mess around, pass that to your kids. Their kids gonna pass it to their kids. You'll be like, if I don't hold myself accountable, and when they get older, they not gonna hold themselves accountable, and it's just gonna become one big cycle. You don't want that to happen.
It's your sense of priorities.
Yeah.
And that's the level of accountability. If it's not a priority, you're not going to make it. You're part of your accountability issues.
So what advice would you give to somebody who has like their priorities like out of order?
Sit down, write your goals out, realistic goals, and like break it down how you gonna put it together and make a schedule of like things you need to do. Because that's what I started doing. Like wake up in the morning, what I need to get done, and just go throughout my day of getting stuff done. So you have your mind focused on the goals you want. You know what I'm saying? You're focused on what you need to get done or what you're trying to do, and you don't get distracted for real. You're like, all right, boom, I need to go run a mile. All right, let me get up, run this mile. Oh, I gotta send some packages off. So when I get done running this mile, I can go send these packages off. Boom. Oh, I need to make a TikTok to promote my business. All right, when I get home, clean up. Let's make this TikTok. It's all about like for time management and like just staying focused on what you're trying to do. So write out your goals, write out a to-do list, schedule, work on your time management skills. Wake up in the morning, get up. That's all I can really say. Get up in the morning and keep you pushing. Everybody's situation different, but that's just my advice.
That's actually been the whole writing down method. That's already been like scientifically proven to benefit one's life.
Yeah.
And to add on to that, right? So like you mentioned, basically focusing on what is to be prioritized, right? And at the same time, I think it's also to focus on what is distracting you the most and put that into like a prioritizing category of what you should focus on avoiding or minimizing. So whether or not it's video games, whether or not it's going out and drinking, or for men, women, or for women, men, like distracting relationships, all of these things is something you should also put onto that paper of what distracts me from completing myself and the duties that I need to complete. I think that's an important aspect of it.
Come on, oh wise one.
Oh no, but again, let's go right back to the coping method. You're coping planning. That's exactly what you're doing. You're coping planning ahead of time. If you know you're gonna have this habit, you kill that habit there. You got to reroute everything you do on a negative spectrum or wasting time and energy that you could be using more effectively on another thing.
At the same time, though, so not that I'm disagreeing with you or like the method that you're using. You're at the age of where, or like you have that certain level of experience and maturity to use that effectively. And that also requires a lot of energy to do, where you have to wake up every day and say to yourself, I will do this. Like, what was it? You said what was it?
Oh, it's just coping planning.
Coping planning. So like this idea, I think is extremely effective, but it's only as effective as the person using it. So if it's in the hands, say, of a person that is just all over the place, I feel like that's not necessarily a high level idea, but it's something that definitely needs to be like kind of practiced over time.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't really matter as long as you know your objective. It doesn't really matter on your age or discipline or your experience. These are things that are pretty much set in stone in your brain. If you know you want something, guess what happens when you say, I want to get those pair of shoes? A, B, and C becomes that priority. And you remove that excuse to say, how are you going to get those shoes?
Yeah.
So you're going to get that 120, right? I want those shoes by Friday. A, B, and C happens. There's no excuse for how you miss out on that sneakers release. Now, how you direct that might be a maturity thing, but that skill there, it's going to be always full circle. Especially like when everybody was doing football practice, you knew you had to get this type of weight to get into, be on the team or varsity, whatever that needed to be. Guess what happened? You got in the gym, you ate a little different. You went. It wasn't like you had to be told to do it. You just said, I want to do it. And you eventually make those mental changes. When you want it, you're going to make those changes. You're going to hold yourself differently. And that always separates everybody. If you didn't want it, you're going to fall back. Your accountability lessens. What you're also given is lesson. So that is the level of extremes. That's why the experience thing, it's what you're saying is different, because you can tell who's accountable by the weight they carry.
All right. Mace, you mind if I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
All right. To the group, let me ask y'all. Is it possible for a person to go through life without holding everything accountable? Say they could do one or two things, but a majority of the time, hell with it. I'll just go through it. Is it possible for the person to go through their entire life without holding themselves accountable at least half of the time?
Nah, doesn't work.
Don't think so?
Doesn't work that well.
It doesn't, but I think it happened.
It doesn't.
All I was gonna say was, you feel me? I mean, it happens. You feel me? Like, it's obvious, like, times to where we know that we have to do something, but we always be like, I get around to it and never get around to it. And obviously, you know the consequence of not getting around to it, but we still procrastinate or just never even care about it, which goes back to like the priorities. Because it's like, if it's not top priority on your list, like, oh, this is life threatening, I need to get this done, you're gonna look at it like, okay, I get around to it whenever I can, or whenever it comes around to me, that's when it'll happen, or something like that.
I think it's I think it's possible, because you view people that do the bare minimum, right? And they go their entire life doing the bare minimum. So what does the bare minimum entail? Not taking accountability for really anything but, say, just enough of like the most important things, paying your bills maybe, or showing up to work, decently on time. You're late a couple of times, but everything else out the window. And I think that's a very possible, yet not extremely positive way of living. But I think it's a possible thing. Is that how we would want people that we care about to live? Not necessarily. But on an open-minded aspect to view how everyone else lives and how we all live extremely differently, I think it's a very realistic viewpoint to say, yeah, you could probably go through life as like a lazy person, and maybe they never got to achieve everything they wanted to achieve or gain everything they wanted to gain, but they made it, quote unquote, off the bare minimum. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I mean, I agree, because there's a lot of people that I know that do the bare minimum and they get by, but the reward is nothing but bare minimum.
Exactly.
Right.
So some of them may change up. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm like in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, they may switch up. They be like, you know what? I'm tired of receiving the bare minimum. Like, let's see where this goes if I put like my best foot forward. Then you got the other group of people that's like, okay, it is what it is.
But that's what I said is, no matter, even if you're saying that bare minimum, you're not going to get that same exchange back.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So there's no. So if we were to talk about, we're like, again, you're talking about half the time. Half the time is literally their full time, because I'm doing my bare minimum. I come home, I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
I don't have money to do this. So the levels are different. So no matter what you're saying, half the time, that's their full time. Because their bare minimum, they never exceeded what was their maximum. So that's now their max. Your minimum is their max. There's no way they're going to cross that line.
I think it's also important to kind of view that as like, this type of conversation is held for those who wish to do better, are doing better in general, right? So, and I think there's always a fine line between the people that view things against others. So the way I see it is that those who do not hold themselves accountable and those who do the bare minimum, it's not as if we are looking at them as if they are in the wrong, because if they are comfortable in the way they live and they're not so much worried about comparing themselves to those who do better than them, then in that sense, they're just living the way they want to live. That's how I see it.
Right on.
Y'all preaching, bro. Y'all preaching. And I don't want anybody to feel like, you feel me, if you have a question, like go ahead and like, you feel me, ask it. Cause I mean, it just open up the conversation even more for more like opinions and shit like that.
So let's talk about that accountability in relationships.
I mean, accountability across the board, easy.
What? Okay. So like, look, I've been around people who, you know, I got a lot of friends. All right, you know, I'm a social person, and it be people who be in relationships. They be telling me what's going on, and they just be like, you know, so and so didn't do this, and so don't do that, and I be saying like this. But what did you do? Like, did you, you know, sometimes you gotta meet halfway. Like for one post, I saw this one post one day, right? I agree with it, but I don't agree with it at the same time. There's like sometimes, you know, you got to be at 90 and your partner got to be at 20. And I was like, I agree somewhat, if that makes sense. Because I was like, what if y'all both be like, you know, down? Like you.
Well, one of y'all's got to be a 90, 80, and one's got to be a 20.
Oh,
yes, that's not.
I mean, yeah, I understand that, but I was just like, some niggas don't be having it.
You can't. There's no way that works out. You got it. Someone's got to be always an 80, and somebody's always got to be a 20.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So I'm kind of glad that y'all kind of brought up the, you know, 80-20 thing, because I saw honestly multiple videos probably like within the last like month or so, to where the videos was like, you know, everybody always saying like this person got to give 80 while this person is 20, this or 50-50 here. Is like everybody got to give 100% of their all. If you in a relationship, you got to hold yourself accountable and put yourself on a pedestal if you want somebody to view you a certain way, just like you want your partner to be on that pedestal and treat you like you want to be treated type. You feel me? So it's like holding yourself accountable in a relationship. You can't let yourself falter. Even, I mean, you feel me? It's gonna happen sometimes when you're going through, you feel me, like your days or whatever. But if y'all both are like, you feel me, on a regular day basis type, you feel me, y'all both gotta hold yourself at 100%, because that way each other know that you're giving each other your all. You're holding each other accountable for, you feel me, y'all actions and y'all love that y'all have for each other or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Because I'm trying to figure out like a good analogy for this, as far as like a teamwork between two different types, or not two different, two people in the same situation. I mean, in any analogy, you know, disregard that. I would say that if two people are on the boat and they got to keep that boat afloat, and one falters, that ship is going to sink regardless. So I 100% agree that there will be days where both struggle or one struggles, but as long as you keep that basic sense of keeping each other accountable, recognizing what is important and the value of each other's relationship, you can't go wrong. But the minute any one of those values falter is when everything goes south, and then you got like disdain, and you got the useless or pointless struggles that come across the board where you're like, we could have avoided this had you done A, B, and C, and had I done A, B, and C.
And that's 80-20.
And with that being said, honestly, bro, a lot that comes into play with that is, I'm pretty sure we all know, is pride, bro. Because it'll be times where we be like, no, but they did this, and all that. Like, I ain't finna do this. You feel me? Like, it's whatever. That's not holding yourself accountable for looking at it at both sides. And you could have been, you feel me, fixed it this way, or like he said, you feel me, it could have avoided the whole like 10-mile like argument or whatever. You feel me? If you just held yourself accountable and looked at what you could have did better and what they could have did better, looking at it on their side, it all could have just worked itself out if you just let the pride go. That's a lot of situations now. People got too much pride.
I mean, yeah. I mean, y'all know me, so I'll be prideful sometimes. I have grown out of my pride. Even Gary has seen me grow as a young man.
Prideful mother.
But yeah, you got to grow out of that pride. Honestly, you know, it's okay to admit that you can be wrong at times. We're, like I said in the beginning, we're not perfect. We're human beings. But if you can admit that, you know, I messed up, people might look at you in a different light and they be like, you know what, I can work with you. You know, but if you're gonna be like, nah, I ain't, you know, I'm not the problem, this and that, 9 times out of 10, that's gonna be your downfall.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta learn to let that go because it can be your downfall. I mean, if y'all watch anime, look at Vegeta.
But he
Hey,
kept
but
his
that
wife, though.
top-
He kept his wife.
Man's on top now. Look at him.
Look, he came back. Okay, look, he came back.
And he kept his pride. He won.
Yeah, he killed his pride, and it was just like, all right, boom.
All right. So okay. So then should we change the topic of like pride in a relationship to what part of it is the good pride you want to keep for the relationship?
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's like y'all saying pride, but again, what got you here?
Well, with pride comes a lot, right?
Right.
Pride brings a lot of things. And I would say, I don't know if you guys agree, that pride typically brings more negativity than anything else. So, and when we're discussing that topic of accountability and recognizing what your role is, whenever pride takes over, the emotions that follow that is typically one of anger and then the reaction of sadness afterwards, whichever negative outcome happens. So if you're not able to, because right now we're talking about this as if because we have learned from our own experiences and also because of 2020 hindsight, and we look back and say, you know what, A, B, and C. But even in the moment, sometimes even after all the experiences that we've had, and maybe it's just myself talking, where I find myself still getting caught up in the emotions that follow pride. Whenever I am disregarding or saying, no, like, you know, I am this and I have done this. Those things follow with all the negative emotions. So if a person struggles to keep those emotions in check, you will then struggle to keep pride in check. And then you will then struggle to keep your priorities in check.
Yeah, that boy dropping gems right now.
Yeah, I guess it's weird. As long as if it messes up my money or the people I'm surrounded around, like my circle, it normally dips. It dips really fast.
See, you're like saying these hell of effective like ways of living, and I wish that more people followed that, because to easily, like the way you said, like if it doesn't affect these things which you value as priorities, cut them. We don't need it. Out of here. All right, Garen. So you had originally stated about focusing on your priorities, whether it be money or those around you. Yeah. And then everything else that follows after that, if they're coming in to like, you know, throw that out the circle, you're like, nah, cutting that off, right? Yeah. So the question to the group is, do you see people, even I guess acquaintances, other friends, family members that fail to do that fail to keep that circle tight and let everything else as far as negative forces, different types of people, their distractions influence and kind of disrupt what their priorities are?
I know mine don't. Sean just met my mom. Dion, have you met my mom? Mm-hmm. She don't play. They ain't know. Oh, you on half step? Sorry, homie, you can't beat this crew. It's like Deion Sanders. I have this standard. If you don't reach that standard, you can stay in that corner. Mm-hmm. Don't exist. And so most people I've even come across, They just kind of be like this. This person don't exist. This person stays in that circle, and they keep it moving. Like eye to eye, we just be like this. Oh, you on this mission. I know how you gonna conduct yourself. I don't have to think about it. Now, do I know these are certain trigger points you'll have? Like, oh, you said this, therefore I had to respond to you in this regard. Just because, again, we're on the same level of standard. Just certain things you just don't cross because we're on this page. And that's just due to environment or like certain business accolades you're accumulating or how you're approaching things. But 9 out of 10 times, nah. There ain't no room to cut up. You got things you want to do? All right. We'll see. That's it. There's no hope for you.
I mean, as experience, like from both of us being at Troy, yeah, we don't tend to keep people around us long. If you want us to be honest, because Garen and I were both on a mission. Garen has completed his mission. I have sidetracked mine, but we still, we're working towards it. But we was like, all right, if you ain't got if you in drama all the time, you ain't got no goals for yourself. You just here to be here. I kind of distance myself from it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go focus on this, and that's it. We cool, but don't think we as close as how we are. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to. He blunt. I'm not as blunt as him. But yeah, we not. I say, what's up? How you doing? But after that, it's like, all right, I'm on my mission. I'm gonna go get it done, get up out of here, and be on my way. I don't need the distraction. I mean, if you see the people I hang around with, like close friends, they all doing something for themselves. So,
Baze, what you got?
keep thinking, boy, we're gonna have a headache.
Because just thinking about, like, you feel me, the question, and then like how y'all are explaining y'all situation. If I'm explaining my situation, you feel me, I have family members that do and don't. I have family members that legit don't. You feel me? They put themselves in positions to where like it hinders everybody else, and they don't actually think about the consequences of it. They don't care. They don't want nothing to do with, you feel me, somebody preaching to them saying like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you got to get your head, on, back straight or something like that. It's just, they kind of just go with the flow, and they feel like they can, like, they feel like they just walking on water instead of eggshells. You feel me? And it's just like, the ones that do, you feel me, they might not be in their like ideal, situation that they would love to be in, but they know that they've put their best foot forward when it comes to like, this so-called thing called life, you feel me? As in like they got their mission done, like Sean said, like, taking care of what they had to get taken care of, all stuff like that. So that's what I mean by like, yeah, I got family that do and don't, and I also have friends that do and don't. You feel me? Like I got friends that's wild and do like without the thought of it, but a lot of it comes from a place of anger. Because when you're angry, you don't think about certain consequences before you do something. You don't think about, oh, I need to, sit back and hold myself accountable because, this might happen. Like, no, when you mad, you feel like you have a one-track like mindset, like, bruh, like this happens, so I'm gonna react like this. A lot of people like, just react that way. But you also have friends like y'all, for instance, you feel me, like holding, y'all have y'all friend group to where y'all hold each other accountable, and you go to that person and be like, hey, calm down, you feel me, like think about this, or they in a situation like you uplift them and all that stuff, like you hold each other accountable to the point where they can be like, yeah, you right, I don't need to do this, or yeah, you right, you feel me, like, so that's my input on it.
I mean, we know I don't know how many times I done got that phone call. Hey, bro, and I'm like, it ain't worth it. Don't even do it. Don't
Bro,
even worth it.
even when Mason with me, there was a situation where he was like, listen, bro, I'm about to go do some crazy stuff. I'm like, don't do that. Like, don't do it, bro. It ain't worth it. All that man needed was a little bit of sleep. Woke up the next day, ate some breakfast with the fam. Bam, all good.
Now, it's all good.
It'd be some simple stuff. Always simple.
Yeah. So
You don't be thinking when you're angry.
Yeah.
You should be like, all right, boom, destruction.
Yeah.
And that's the toughest part, bro. That's the hardest thing to control. Like in a calm mindset, you can set up all of these different plannings, steps to take to better further yourself. But in that moment of anger, everything goes out the window. Now, the one thing that separates two individuals, those who let anger control them and those who control their anger, that is where you definitely see a more exponential way of like, okay, they really know what the outcome will be and what their control is. And it's all about, we're discussing your priorities and everything that follows externally in your life through your decisions. But if you can control yourself at the highest level of difficulty, you'll notice that everything else that follows will be nothing but positive and benefits.
I think majority of the time, that's always the people that literally had to constantly discipline themselves in the jungle.
Yeah.
Like when you in that pinch, like constantly, back to back, like I'm gonna fall through this wall, I'm gonna box my way out. You're gonna figure out a way to box your way out without having some scars sometimes.
Yeah.
And that was normally just how that go. Like, ain't no skipping that one.
Nah. I mean, you gotta fight, to have control. You feel me? It's experience.
Yeah. And two, some people got it good. It's just like, oh, they can see the situation and they instinctually know. And some people, you got to let them practice, like in a judo situation, like, all right, I'm in this pin, I'm a struggle, and then you find yourself in a worse pin.
Yeah. That's Garen. Garen be telling me all the outcomes and stuff, and I'd be like, okay.
I give you 101. And then
I'm like, what if I do this? He's like, all right, well, the earth gonna blow up if you do that. And I'd be like, oh.
We gotta play life like percentages, to me personally.
Yeah.
If I say this happens 9 out of 10 times, this human's gonna have this response. Therefore, you're gonna have this response because personally, this is how you respond to this. Therefore, you need to subtract this response from happening. Therefore, you don't have this reaction from happening.
I low-key inherited it.
So this is life right there.
Yeah. After he left, now I just be watching how people move, and then I'd be like, I know how it's gonna go down.
True. That's how them folks that were like this, they just move on by. It ain't just because they're just doing by the skimming work. They playing the game. They've watched this play out. They said, if I do A, B, and C, I can get to D. I got a bigger paycheck. You said I did the bare minimum. I just did what was told and got to where I needed to be. And now I'm where I want to be. I'm good.
Yeah.
My contentment is 32,000. I get my weekends. I'm good.
I'm weak. And like that just spins back to like accountability. Accountability is control over yourself. You keeping yourself in check. You making sure you getting your stuff together. You feel me? And when you lose control or you lose accountability, it kind of just destroys all the progress you just created.
I think a fair tip to tell folks, it's okay to lie to yourself from time to time with that.
Just don't go overboard.
Yeah, because again, it's like this. Just go if you know for a fact, like it wasn't that, it's like you got to tell yourself it wasn't that bad. And it was like that bad. Like, man, I'm down to my $2. You'll tell yourself it ain't that bad. I can survive with $2.
Hey, look, you make them $2 stretch though.
It's turns. okay for some little lie, say it ain't that bad, and somehow you get that rearrangement.
Exactly. That goes to like, you feel me? When you got something on the line, then it's like you definitely hold yourself accountable. Like, all right, I can't lose this now. Let me straighten up. Let me straighten up real quick.
Hey, look, this for all the college students. Don't make that D.
Don't make that D.
Don't make that D. Don't make that C either. I promise you. Make that A and B.
Because right when that final comes, whoo.
Oh yeah, you'll be fighting for your life. Everybody that turned up at the beginning of the semester, and you talking about, yeah, man, it ain't that bad.
About that, pimp.
Hey.
Hey.
You see us Saturday in a bit. We all been there before. It didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's life.
Yeah, I done been there before.
Well, we all have. Look.
And learn that lesson real quick. He said, what time I gotta be at home? Don't worry about it. I'll be studying at 4. Get out by 9 at the library.
That boy Garen used to kill me when we used to go to community college. That boy be like this. He'll wave, and then he'll put his head back in the book. Everybody over there, why he would never come talk to us? I'm like, that man is studying.
Man,
I don't blame him.
I had to make a mental commitment. I said, do I want nice things? Do I want to ball out? And do I want to graduate? Something had to give. AKA, I lost sleep. 12-hour shifts, reading, and I went to class with about an hour, 30 minutes of sleep. Did it again every day for 2 months.
We'll go work out.
Leave it.
Oh, I'm so weak, bro.
Excuse me, y'all. Dog.
I was like, I already know who he's looking at right now.
Mm-hmm. I've been looking at it the whole time, trying to be a mischief.
But accountability.
Yeah, that accountability, I don't care what age you in. Boy.
Do we have any what's up?
One last bit. I think it seems like we're gonna wrap it up here. When Garen said it's okay to lie to yourself, right? So with that, I think as much as like this entire conversation that we've had today that talks about, accountability, priorities, how important these aspects are, it's also okay to fail.
Yes.
It's completely okay to let those things slip, be it whatever time period. You let it slip for a day, a month, 6 months, you found yourself slipping, you think that you're sitting in your room, you're like, you know what? I've let myself slip for the past 4 years. Today's the day I changed. So that's gonna be a constant battle. There is no way you can remain 100% accountable every second of every day of your life. There's just no way. Because at the end of the day, we are human beings. So to accept that, that mortality, to accept that same aspect of like, we are but beings of, failure and weakness, but to recognize those weaknesses and to want to improve them, to make them stronger, that's completely okay.
Yep. That part right there. Failure.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Failing. You gotta fail to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you did.
What is experience, really?
Failure.
Now, if you don't fail, I don't know what you are. Like you a super freak.
You're not human.
That'd be lit. Like you just said, oh, I didn't fail. Not once. Really? Never missed a free throw in my life.
Bullshit.
and then they send you the tables like this. Oh no, this motherfucker really never missed a free throw. What is this? I'd be so upset.
Man, it's talking about. So you just do it all, don't you?
Right. Mr. Perfect.
On me, Mr. Put It On, got
Mr. Put It On. I'm weak. I'm weak. You want to take us out, Sean?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna promote myself before I take us out of here, boy. You sleep.
You're ugly.
Okay, and
oh, my bad. That's too early.
Dion over here doing his wave like he doing a field goal pose. Oh, I hate this, man. All right, look, before we get up out of here, all I gotta say is homecoming season. Y'all ain't got no drill for real. Stop playing with yourselves.
Oh,
Said it's okay to lie to yourselves, but you lie too much. So you need to stop playing. Get you some tribe gear. You see everybody got it on. How long? If you need me to send you some, I can.
I got my other job clothes on. I'm gonna just slide out this way.
If you want this, I'm gonna need y'all to put it in. I'm gonna need you to put the link in them.
I got you.
If you want this, go to our website. The link will be in our bio, our description, my bio. Come on now, y'all sleep.
It'll be tagged somewhere on the page. I just want y'all to know that.
Hey, and anybody from Troy watching this, we ain't gonna say it on the podcast, but we got a small little surprise coming for y'all. Sneak peek real quick. Oh
my God! Wow!
That boy Austin famous. Stop playing with him.
but hey, we got a little surprise for y'all. So if y'all attending Troy University's homecoming, keep a lookout. Y'all gonna be getting some soon.
Some dope deals. Y'all gonna get some nice deals.
But I'm at Troy right now, so I can get that deal, guys.
Pull up. But that's all I gotta say. Shout out to our guests. Shout out to my boy Austin. Shout out to my boy Garen. We appreciate y'all, tuning in. What's y'all Instagrams? What's y'all handles? Let them know who y'all are.
What is it? What's my new one? Jesus, Mary Jo.
Oh, come on, Garen. Come on, man.
I got a new one. I started my business one finally for my fitness page, and I just forgot it. Jesus, Mary Joseph.
I got you. Get Fit with Kent.
Aha!
There we go.
Fun. And then Vintage Fit Kent 92. Jake
I only put one in there.
I put two just to help it out. One's the personal one for the modeling, the other one's for the other business. So you gotta take both of them.
Okay. Austin, it's your turn.
All right. I honestly hate when y'all ask me for my Instagram because it's gonna be complicated. All right. Gallo Malvado. So for my Spanish speakers out there, you know what I'm talking about, but it's gonna be GALLO _MALVADO. Gallo Malvado. That's my Instagram.
Big money.
On me, big baller over here. Thanks for tuning in. I need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. See, look, you already know. Drink your water.
Hydration.
Drink your soju.
Drink all that. Drink your apple juice.
He gonna be pooping all week. Clank bottles. We in this.
On week. But look, I appreciate y'all tuning in today. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch y'all later. Y'all know what to do with the hand, right? Y'all know what to do with the hand. You gonna do it with the water bottle?
Yeah. Hydration.
All right. 3, 2, 1.